Hello. It is the latest edition of the Indulgent Islander Podcast. I am your humble co-host, Tim Wood, here with the legendary man behind the moniker, the Indulgent Islander himself, D. Simone. You gotta work on like your WWE intro.
Channel your Howard
Buffer.
Finkel.
Buffer. How are you?
Surprisingly well, much better than I thought I would after all the various varietals of wine that I imbibed yesterday evening at the Chez George wine dinner.
Quite the event, eh?
Just incredible. They do these wine dinners once a month or so. And seemingly like each one is better than the one before. Last night was a sneak preview of what we're going to be seeing from Radici in hopefully a month or Tia, Bianchi, and Chris Pinkney, who's the head chef over there, of course, with George Casalicchio. It was incredible. This prime ribeye with smoked corn cream, corn ribs, and chorizo emulsion. I'm a huge corn fan. So anytime they start to incorporate spring and summer, they start to incorporate corn. This thing that they're doing, a lot of places are doing with corn ribs, where they peel off the corn and serve it in that sort of fashion or format is awesome.
What's this all about?
That's a Dover sole. What do you think are those two things next to the Dover sole?
Scallops?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's a fondant potato.
Come on.
I swear to God, as soon as they put the plate down, I said, I guess we're getting a couple of scallops, Dover sole. Gian Domenico Prosapino, we interviewed along with Mattia and Camila a couple of weeks ago. He spent a long time cutting out all of these potatoes. It's crazy how much they look like scallops. So that had a munyaya sauce with salted bok choy and citrus. The Dover sole was cooked perfectly, and it was just delicious. The presentation, obviously, very delicate with the sauce. Apparently, munyaya is the Italian translation, the French definition, meunière. So most people are probably familiar with Dover sole meunière, which is cooking the fish filleted or in slices. It was just incredible. That sauce, just much like the sauce with the ribeye, was just excellent. Bok choy. It's one of my favorite vegetables. I told Mattia, George's father, Piero, Gian Domenico, everyone, the squid ink taharin pasta was worth the trip alone. Taharin's basically like the tagliolini, a ribbon pasta, like spaghetti, a little flatter. George sent me a sneak preview the other day of when they were actually rolling this through the pasta machine. I don't know if you've ever had squid ink pasta, Tim, but it's as good as it gets.
I have had squid ink in it, yeah, but it just look succulent. I don't usually describe pasta as succulent, but
this was a lobster sauce Americane.
Wow.
With a candied citrus zest. It looks very simple and straightforward, but every bite was outstanding. Like I said, I would have gone to the dinner just for this squid ink pasta. I was mentioning Fleeting, which is one of my favorite spots over in Savannah. She's calling it the Harriet's Bar, and they have squid ink spaghetti with crab, rock shrimp, scallop, chili, and lemon. It's a seafood forward pop up by executive chef Victoria Shore. The squid ink made me think of because I saw that on her menu. And then to be able to enjoy that last night was a real treat. What you're looking at now is the starter. This was a hat trick of a starter. They used Ladies Island oysters. There was an oyster souffle with an oyster underneath. Then you were supposed to move on to the casino, which was fire roasted bell peppers, scallion, lardon, parmesan, and panko. That reminded me of growing up, specifically Christmas Eve, having baked clams, where my family would gather clam shells, clean them, and put the mixture into the clams. We had it this past year. This reminded me of my childhood. It was like a palate cleanser with the ginger lemongrass mignonette, salmon, big eye tuna crudo, and sturgeon caviar.
Wow.
Do you have that? I want to go because Amanda did me a solid because this wasn't on the menu. Do you have that little bite? That's a dessert. Coffee, frozen souffle, banana pudding foam with waffle crumble. Delicious. And a little glass of port. I'm not going to try to pronounce that port, but Monica Collins runs the bar at Chez George. Every dish was accompanied by a delicious wine. She did one that was a combo. When she did the Dover Sole, she did a red and a white. She's awesome. She does, they got a bourbon dinner coming up soon too, that she'll be running that. So everything was paired with an excellent glass of wine and finish it off with that port.
So the bite with a glaze on it, is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. The amuse bouche.
It's a little out of focus.
The reason why it was out of focus was because I arrived a couple of minutes late. It started at 5:45 and everybody congregates in the bar area. This was like a pass around. I was probably the last one to get it. Amanda, who's very sweet, was kind enough to jot this down for me. This was a pasta frittata, homemade pasta coated in a panko. It had venison ragu. It was on a fava bean cream sauce with garlic sauce and microgreens on top. When I went through the new menu months ago, I had something similar that was a pork bite. I think we talked about it last week.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure to mention that because isn't it crazy that a little tiny bite like that, this is smaller than a meatball, about the size of a small plum, like a golf ball, to have that with pasta, panko, venison ragu, fava bean cream sauce, garlic sauce, and microgreens. An amazing bite to start off a dinner. Other dishes were better lit because they had the little lamps on the table that you could adjust, which is very helpful.
Capper to a weekend on the island. You got out to the seafood festival and didn't eat seafood.
I did not eat a bite. This year, I didn't attend the Pig and Oyster Roast. I heard that there was more attendees there than there were last year. I heard very good things about the night before, which was the Zero Forks given, which was a lot of, I don't want to say finger food, but zero forks as in you didn't need a fork to eat anything that they had there. That was at the Omni. The Pig and Oyster Roast was at Honey Horn, which is also where the main event was on Saturday. It was chilly last week. Even though the Thursday and Friday events were successful, the wind was whipping through the Omni coming off the beach on Thursday.
You look at all the photos, they were wearing winter jackets and poke.
People were bundled up. The great news is that once Saturday rolled around, Saturday is the most important event for the vendors. You pay $20 to get in, and then you're paying for the food, whatever you decide to indulge in. So that's really the day This is all for charity, of course, which is a great cause with the Carmine's Foundation. I'm glad they had a nice day. It was 50s, 60s, sunny, not really much wind. John Park, the hungry Asian from Roanoke, Virginia, comes down a handful of times a year. He was on his way back from Savannah. He was doing some content with Chef Brandon Carter over at Common Thread. And he hit me up and he said, "You want to check out the main event?" I wasn't planning on doing it, but I hopped in his car. We drove over for a couple hours. I did not eat any seafood, but perfectly in line with the theme of today's podcast, I did get to enjoy some barbecue. Specifically, there was a beef rib. There was a section of the festival for demonstrations. A company called Barrels on Bourbon were presenting a beef short rib that they were grilling right there on the spot. It incorporated Kentucky teriyaki beef short rib with sushi rice. It was falling off the bone. The sauce was excellent. I know it was funny that I didn't enjoy any seafood, but I got to try the beef rib. I got to try the giant meatball from Cafe Al Dente from my friends Damien and Yaxio. That was really tasty. Lee Lucier from Fish and Local Pie had an amazing pulled pork slider. It was the perfect lead in for what we're going to talk about.
And by the way, you mentioned Cafe Al Dente. Nice lead in to talking about the coming explosion of new Riverside restaurants in Bluffton. Before we get to barbecue, we've got an opening.
Yes,
I'll create a graphic. Opening alert.
it's a great
Um,
idea for us. Sound the alarms.
Yeah, we've got an opening. Flatbread Grills established quite a following. Beachside Caligny, Amanda Fox, and the crew out there are opening their Bluffton location. By the time you hear this, they are open at May River Crossing in the Publix Plaza. It's across from the village at New Riverside, but it is the next of the restaurants to open. And we're really excited about that.
This bar looks super cool. Got a couple screens. I'm excited to check it out. I think hopefully we'll be able to coordinate later so that we can get over there and say hi to Amanda and them.
Going to be a great hang spot, especially for you and I in this quadrant of town right down the street from us. I think this will be a nice spot for you and I to hang specifically.
Are you going to be doing trivia there too?
To be determined. I don't know if they'll want to do it right out of the gate. They may
Yeah.
want to gauge the grand opening crowd. I haven't spoken to Amanda specifically about that, but I'm hoping to, because I always said to her, we've had a decent following in Hilton Head, but your new location is tailor-made for trivia. They are right in the crux of families and old folks, and yeah, let's bring it on.
I'm very excited. I go to the island once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. I might grab lunch there once or twice. I'm always trying to find something new. I get lured in by specials. When I saw Damien on Saturday, I said, I'm overdue for the chicken parm. Pizza type places, I don't typically end up at for lunch on a weekday, but places like a flatbread, Cafe Al Dente, Local Pie, I'm excited to have those places because when you want to order a pizza or you want to just go out and grab a quick dinner or a chicken parm or something like that at one of these type places, I just feel like having it, right down the street over here, I'm going to take advantage of a lot more than I would have.
To me, this place has neighborhood hang written all over it. I don't need every dining experience to be an event. And sometimes just you find a place that has delicious, reliable food, and that becomes the go-to. Squat and gobble became that for me for breakfast. That became my meeting spot. Eggs up is in on that territorial bit in a Apple Samsung sort of way. But I don't have that lunch per se in Bluffton. That's just nice and simple right down the road for me. That's not an event. Get dressed up, take 20 to 30 minutes to get there. Just to have something right around the corner, like a grocery store. Like, this will be cool.
I'm glad you
Excited
mentioned
for
eggs too. I had a couple of breakfast sandwiches on Sunday that would rival any breakfast sandwich.
I try not to deal in hyperbole or be a slave to the moment. And that's part of what I respect about you. So when you made that statement, that was a pretty loud statement about rivaling the best you ever had.
I love sandwiches. I love breakfast sandwiches. I even told Lori when I was over there, my original plan for Sunday, because I just had to pick up a couple things at Food Lion. I just wanted to go to whatever place was closest because I just had to pick up some odds and ends, some seltzer and stuff. And so my original plan was to stop at the Hidden Egg Cafe. They're closed on Sundays. So when I noticed that they were closed, I should have known. But the next step was, okay, where am I going to pivot now and go get a breakfast sandwich? And I remembered, what's that?
Whenever I hear pivot, I think of that friend Ross.
Moving the couch. That was a good one. I called an audible. I ran over to Eggs Up, scooted back over. And I just love being able to slide up to the bar and have something quick to eat. I was struggling to figure out what I wanted. I knew I wanted sausage, and they have a breakfast burger. I wanted to recreate Wendy's breakfast Baconator. I wanted to create like a breakfast burger, but with sausage instead. So I did a create your own sausage patties, eggs over medium, shout out over medium. And I added some sauteed onions and on that soft brioche bun that really makes me want to get back there soon. I heard the burger's very good too. The brioche bun there is so soft and airy, perfect for an egg sandwich. They also do a waffle witch with a nice soft Belgian, like a quarter of a Belgian waffle. And I had that with scrambled eggs, American cheese and bacon. And they have this spicy syrup that they use for their chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
It's almost like chili sauce kind of syrup. To have that as a dipper for the waffle sandwich. I know we weren't planning on talking about this, but I'll be honest. Just coming from New Jersey, tri-state area, might be the pizza, bagel, breakfast sandwich capital of the world. There are quite a few options around here for bagel sandwiches. I'm the type of crazy person. I'll drive out 45 minutes out to Goodies in Savannah to get breakfast. Or the fact that I can go 5 minutes down the road from my house to get breakfast sandwiches like this. Again, I don't care if it's a chain. The food is excellent.
I'm glad you brought this up because I saw that post and it blew my mind. You led into what I was going to say in terms of the chain. Okay, fine. It's a chain. First of all, when you have Lori there every day, the Hudson family behind it, and the community feel in the restaurant, the menu is very creative and it doesn't feel like chain food. The options, the quality of the syrup, those little touches that you wouldn't find at a normal chain, so to speak. And I'm really impressed with the seasonal items they offer. They haven't even been open for 8 months. Probably going on about 8, 9 months. And that this menu has morphed. And they've got their basics, but they've added stuff 3 or 4 times. It's an interesting place. A breakfast option was needed, but this has all the makings of a new institution in town. So
it starts at the top. The way Lori runs this place, she's a great manager. Everybody seems happy to be working there.
The mural on the wall is amazing, and I believe it's Lindsay Spears. She's done a lot of murals in town. She did some stuff over at Pritchardville Elementary. So shout out to Lindsay. I was talking with Lori the other day about it, just how she just gave the basics of the things that she wanted the greatest hits of around town, and Lindsay just made it sing. All right, one last topic. This is one of those things that I posted immediately after I saw it because I know the gravity of it. I know pool bar Jim, but I don't feel qualified to eulogize him properly. We lost pool bar Jim. I've been there 2 or 3 times. It's one of those places you go and you're like, why don't I go there more? The folks that are regulars know he is just such a nice dude, a good dude, a giving dude, a person that made you feel good. He brought people in, created new drinks, and just created a vibe there that was so homey for Islanders and became a must visit for anybody new to Low Country. And I know visitors made this a must stop on their itinerary for decades.
I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. You mentioned not being qualified. I'm not qualified. I've never been to pool bar gyms. I couldn't tell you how to get there. Love a frozen cocktail on vacation. I just haven't had the opportunity. I would love to try it. Is it a painkiller or a lava flow? They look delicious. You could tell from the photo you posted with the look on his face. The comment I made on Facebook was, I feel the same way about not having made it to pool bar gyms and not having the opportunity to meet Jim Lazenby is my version of the fact that I never got to see Jerry Garcia with the
Yep.
Grateful Dead while he was still alive. Really wish I had the chance to get there, enjoy a drink, and say hello, meet him while he was still there. I understand he was sick. From what Dave Tech mentioned, he was able to say goodbye to his people before he left us. My heart goes out to all my friends, people whose lives he touched, and all the people that work with him. I'm glad to hear that they're going to keep it going. Dave, I'm sure, is going to do a great job with that, just like he's done a great job with Bad Biscuit, just like he's done a great job with A Low Country Backyard. And I'm going to make it a point at some time this spring or summer to get over there as a tribute and enjoy one or two of those frozen drinks. I wish I had the chance to do it while
We don't feel qualified to properly eulogize him and express the joy he brought to people and the pain and grief that people are feeling. Even though, yes, we knew that he was sick, folks made it a point to see him and let him know. Sally Zuniga post, but Sally is one of those folks that she saw him at, she said she saw him at Blue. So glad I was able to tell him what he meant to the island and all of us. Best in the hospitality biz, the amount of people who have a happy core memory because of pool bar gyms is probably immeasurable. He deserved to live forever. Used to order butter me up after volleyballs and lava flows, recently painkillers. The drinks were extraordinary, but the man, that's a lot. The way I felt about Money Jet passing, I feel that same grief from the posts that I'm seeing and the sadness, but at the same time, just a celebration and a thankfulness, a gratefulness for what he brought to the island and to Low Country. R.I.P. Pooh Bar Jim. So
yeah, Sally, as eloquent as you would expect her to be, she's always got a great handle on things. She's been around for a long time in that industry. A celebration of life coming up. Stay tuned for news on that. I like to say rest in power. These people have a powerful impact on the lives that they touch. He certainly touched a lot. I'm not even just locals, but people, like you said, that came here on vacation like I used to, that made it an appointment while they were here for a week or a few days to get over to pool bar gyms and have a cocktail or two.
And you said it earlier. I think that was a really good point. We live in a vacation paradise. Yeah, I've got a lot of flaws, and I'm pretty self-aware. I need to get at enjoying that vacation lifestyle. I don't go to Tiki Hut enough. I don't go to see Jevin Daly play enough or Kyle play pretty darn. I just don't take it in enough sometimes. So busy with the hustle. Try to take care of business, but this area is why people love it. There's an air here, the chill factor. Don't let it pass by. You want to know people like Pool Bar Jim.
I agree. I say that a lot, Tim. I don't take advantage as often as I should. This area that we live in, you almost take it for granted. I made it to the beach 2 or 3 times last year. I did not enter a pool the entire summer, and the whole summer went by. I think I was on a boat once. We get caught up in the hustle and bustle of our lives. As much as I love being out here on the outskirts of Bluffton, and as much as I spend in Savannah eating and things like that, 2 pets to take care of. It's something my wife and I discuss a lot. We're going to make a concerted effort. Some of the best times I've had are Saturday afternoons at Tiki Hut for JoJo Squirrel and the home pickles, or
Yep.
it's all the opportunities to enjoy Hilton Head specifically are all around us all the time. And we're getting back into 60, 70 degree weather. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot of this stuff I don't do often enough.
He's a guy that took advantage of, he knew how to live too. He worked his
Absolutely.
ass off to establish that brand, to be present, nice and good. It leaves its mark. It's so easy to get caught up in all the negativity around us now more than ever. When you have people like this in your life, you really appreciate them. Smell the roses. Smell the ocean. Take it in.
Speaking of getting to the island, you see, I got my Groovetown Assault cap on. Saturday, Tin and Tallow, 4 to 7. I think they're calling it a reunion show. I'm going to do my absolute best to get over there. I think it's the first musical act that we're going to see at Tin and Tallow since
Yeah.
went brick and mortar. Shout out Derek Letaway and Groovetown Assault, who I enjoyed as often as I could when I was here vacationing, and really have not had an opportunity to do so. A lot of times the time and the location of their show doesn't fit in with my, old man lifestyle, because I'm usually on the couch, but before they even go on stage. But I'm going to force myself, especially with this being a sort of a matinee and afternoon show. I'm due for a Tin and Tallow burger. For those
Nice.
into burgers, smash burgers, fried chicken sandwiches, and music, go check them out this week.
You mentioned not getting to the beach enough. A few people hit me up wondering if you and I were going to talk about the whole beach parking controversy and how it will affect restaurants. Uh, and this has been stewing for a while. It's the town of Hilton Head just put the news out about the new parking fees for beaches. We're gonna digest this. This is new information that just came out the last 24 hours. I think we want to get a better lay of the land and the reaction from the restaurant industry before we spout off too much about it. We're not forgetting about it. We want to be intentional and take in all sides before we put any 2 cents in.
Absolutely. This is more your department than mine as far as the news and events outside of the food industry. This is something that's certainly going to affect food and beverage on Hilton Head, and people are fired up about it. Hopefully they will hear. The majority are not particularly thrilled.
Visitors are not upset, but the vast majority of this beach parking thing, people have a lot to say about it. What struck me was the amount of people that are very measured in the things that they get involved in, and when they speak up and how they speak up within the food industry, hitting me up. This is big. So we'll get a finger of the pulse on that a little bit more and talk about it next. What we're talking about this week is your visit to the seafood festival. Yeah, it's great barbecue out there. And we're talking barbecue this week. Again, with more pictures. Y'all really reacted last week. I will say, first of all, the views. Nick put out a couple posts about just thank you. And we hit 3,000 views within 24 hours on your post alone. A lot of people were reacting to the visual element outside of just seeing our ugly mugs, getting to see the food that you so eloquently. Interesting that I would say eloquently and then completely brain fart on the words after it.
We'll give you a pass.
Thank you. Where do you want to start?
I think we should start on the south end of Hilton, the newest addition to the barbecue scene in Hilton Head and Bluffton, coming from the same group that brought us local pie and fish.
Yeah,
Forest Fire Barbecue. Of course, the brainchild of Scott Forrest Bodkin. Actually, right next to Fish in Coligny Plaza. I was pumped when I heard about it. When you talk about barbecue, it's something that people are passionate about. You talk about sauce, meat and two, meat and three, smoked chicken, smoked brisket, smoked pulled pork, chicken smoked with cherry and apple, brisket smoked with hickory and pecan, pulled pork smoked with cherry, pecan, and hickory. That's the plate I enjoyed a couple months ago with George Consolicchio. I typically go Bub's Pick, $24, 2 meats, add $4 if you want to go brisket, which I think I did. Pop's Plate for another $10, you get a third meat. Fixins, mac and cheese, always a winner. And the smoked egg salad is very unique. For someone like myself who loves pickles, Mimi's B&B pickles, I think probably stands for bread and butter. I can never get enough pickles. So I'm always going to take advantage of that. Even if I'm limited to a couple sides, I get the pickles automatically. 2 fixins come with the meals. You get homemade bread. That was a soup that they had that day. This is when I was doing my soup de tour. And soup is not something that they have every day at Forest Fire, but this was a strong hearty white bean and smoked chicken soup special. You got the smoked egg salad and coleslaw in the background. When it comes to sauce, I like a bit of everything. That day, I went with regular barbecue sauce, Bubba's barbecue, his grandmother's recipe, Slow Country Gold, mustardy sauce, the Kentucky Black, basically an au jus, spicy DeVille, spicy red like Louisville, the sweet one, exactly as described, a sweet sauce, and my favorite is Samurai Sunny with an Asian-inspired sauce.
Southern Institute, okay? Everybody thinks they know how to do. Very few do. I think that I would call barbecue probably on the top 3 of my Mendoza line food. For every 10 barbecue spots that open, less than 2. Like, you're batting less than 200. You're below the Mendoza line. I feel like 1 in 5 barbecue spots really nails it. What makes Forest Fire stand out?
The meat is falling off the bone. Brisket and pulled pork are my go-tos. It's the time and effort that's put into preparing this stuff. You can just tell by the flavor, texture, the flavors deep within the meat. I love the fact that what they do changes if certain things sell out because it's fresh and it made to order. I knew off the bat when I first heard about this, Forrest is a Kentucky native. When you think barbecue, you think Kentucky. It says right on the website, heart and soul, fire and smoke. Wood smoked barbecue is probably the best barbecue you could find. And that's why I love this place.
It was a big swing by Lee and their group of eateries. And like you said, he picked the right barbecue horse to back. It's so delicious. When I think of barbecue, I think of the word intention. It's the way they're smoking, the recipes, the history behind the recipes. It's intentionally done to absolutely knock you off your chair with the flavor profiles. That's what blew me away from the first time I went there.
The commitment to creativity and changing things up. I remember at one point, I didn't get a chance to try it, but they had a burger on special that people were raving about. Every week I see them advertising Leg Wednesday, $15 for a pound of legs with 2 sides and a soft drink every Wednesday all day. This past season, might have been the season before, they start talking about showing football games on Sundays, which I think is cool.
This topic is not going to be our longest episode because I'm not going to say that barbecue, some of these places are not as creative with their menus, and that's just fine. They got the go-tos, they got the goods, and you're going to keep coming back because you want the goods. This is one of those places that has the goods and goes with the creativity. I'm impressed with what I see so far. That's a big swing in terms of the real estate in Coligny, just getting into crowded space with barbecue. And that they're on your list says a lot. There's a lot of choices. Is really, as you said, the newest entry in the area speaks volumes to what they've created.
Absolutely. They did at the seafood festival, they did Asian blueberry glazed baby backs with root vegetable slaw and mustard greens. I've never even heard of blueberry glazed Asian blueberry. That's wild. And they're going to be around for a long time. When it comes to barbecue, you're not going to see a menu that's going to range as much as we were talking about it, like at Higgs Up, where you can get a ton of different things. Barbecues, chicken, pork, brisket, ribs. Like you said, this is not going to be one of our longer ones, but I wanted to start out right out the gate with one that turned my head from the very beginning. From there, we should reverse course and head back over to Bluffton to a place that's been here for 20 years, Chew Barbecue. Owned and operated by the Corey family, Oakwood smoked, slow cooked, hand pulled pork, chicken, and baby back ribs, savory home cooked side dishes on Burnt Church Road. I had been here, full disclosure, a couple of years before I got around to checking out. I drove by it a bunch of times and I was always intrigued. And one day I wanted lunch with my buddy Tanner from the May River Group at England Volkers. He had a meeting over that way. He said, meet me over at Chew Barbecue. What I love about this place is value. Daily lunch special, any sandwich with 2 sides and a drink for $12 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
You're not getting eaten on portion.
You can get a pulled pork or barbecue pulled chicken sandwich for brisket sandwich for $1 more. Train wreck, which is pulled pork, pulled chicken, and brisket for $10. And a hot links sandwich for $8. That barbecue plate, they include 2 sides and a slice of cornbread. I think I went with the train wreck. Half a pound of each. pork, chicken, and brisket. Actually, that one looks like I went with two: pulled chicken and pulled pork. Could add brisket to make it three. Yes, green beans, coleslaw. Look at that chicken, beautiful.
The mac and cheese. We're talking barbecue, but you gotta talk sides are integral to the barbecue experience. All these places on your list, they nail their sides. This mac and cheese is top notch. This is a more recent special.
I
To
saw
me.
that.
Yeah, I was I pulled that on my own when you sent me some stuff. I was just like, this was too good to not mention.
Coleslaw, baked beans, mac and cheese, collard greens, sweet potato casserole, green beans, potato salad, Brunswick stew. They hit all the high notes with the sides.
The hush puppy.
Yep.
This is their smoked burger with onion rings. They've alternated between crinkle fries and fresh cut fries. The onion rings are amazing. Then cut. We're not gonna wax too poetic on this because you know it when you taste it. When it comes to barbecue, you mentioned 20 years. There's a reason they're around. They keep evolving and tweaking, but always with the core tenets of value and staying true to their recipes. A great pick on the Bluffton side of the bridge.
I love how you can get both too. Pulled pork, $15 a pound, $8 half a pound. Chicken, $14 a pound. You can get half racks of ribs, full racks of ribs, half smoked chicken, 50 wings for $62. That sounds like a great deal. Brisket at $19 a pound or $11 a half pound. They do party sized pans from $32 for a 5 pound pan of baked beans to $55 for 4 pounds of pulled chicken or pulled pork with barbecue sauce. They'll sell it in 16-ounce squeeze bottles. That barbecue sauce was one of the best I can remember having. It was an excellent lunch.
The dining experience is lower key than Forest Fire, very down home, very chill.
It's exactly
Not
what you would expect from a roadside barbecue stand. A couple of seats inside, outdoor seating, takeout. It's what you would if you were doing a road trip and you saw on the side of the road, you were getting hungry and you saw Chew Barbecue. I would pull in to enjoy some barbecue.
it's all substance, a little bit of style. Their logo's awesome. The whole gimmick with the train, it's fantastic. At the end of the day, it's the substance of the meals and the value you get. So hats off to Choo Choo for sure.
Next, we're going to go to Jim and Nick's. So we talked about chains a little earlier. We were talking about Eggs Up. Jim and Nick's has locations in Florida, 18 in Alabama, 18 in Georgia, 8 in Tennessee, and then 3 in North Carolina, 3 in South Carolina.
Outside of Eggs Up, is this the first chain we talked about?
It might be.
Thing about Jim and Nick in Bluffton, I don't feel like chain. The staff is so nice. There's not a vanilla homogenized feeling to it.
Right.
The food itself, from cheese biscuits to the barbecue dishes. I love the barbecue, don't get me wrong, and Nick will talk about it, but I challenge you to find a more fulfilling fix. There's that little track off of Buck Island that I absolutely love. Go to that has great barbecue, great catfish, but like it's a whole feeling of Jim and Nick. One of my favorite people, Holly Bounds Jackson, used to be on WSAV, and now she's on ETV or public television. Does a low country book show on there. Just a super nice person. Every time I'm at Jim and Nick's, Holly is there. It's like the Jackson family spot, and a lot of families feel that way around here. It's great value on the food, but again, when you come right to the beginning of it, it's all about the barbecue and the quality of the barbecue.
Yeah, I think I've probably only dined in once or twice. It's more of something to order out. Their like cornbread muffins or out of this world good. That was one of the first things I noticed when I got Jim and Nick's. The deviled eggs, the cheese biscuits. Exactly
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
The
Yes.
corn they've got cornbread too. It's fantastic. When we go as a family with my in-laws, um, you're probably talking about 3 baskets of cheese biscuits between like, TJ, my oldest, will eat a whole basket all by himself and just leaves room for the main event, but, like, the cheese biscuits, a lot of people would argue is the main event even on par with the barbecue, and the barbecue's delicious.
I really enjoyed the barbecue that day. I keep it simple. When ordering, I went with classic pulled pork. There was queso with the tortilla chips, with the
Yeah.
brisket queso.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
outstanding.
up on the screen right now.
Yep, I see it. Yep. And I think I went probably, I usually go classic pulled pork versus Carolina style. I know some people prefer their vinegar based with the Carolina mustard. I like the traditional slow smoked pork with the original barbecue sauce. You mentioned the catfish plate. I'm not the biggest catfish person, but I would 100% go for that.
I will vouch. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you had the ribs there? Yeah.
like, insane. There's so much. Not a huge menu. That's the thing. This is a spot knows what they do well and just deliver. The loaded mac and cheese, that's the thing I marvel at with a chain. When you're able to do something in that volume and it doesn't taste processed, it's mouth-watering. I think about some things on the Jim and Nick's menu, and some I'm not eating now since my surgery. The not so naked potato, the loaded barbecue baker are amazing. The combo plates are great value. They do amazing catering. They have a drive-through, which is always busy, but they move it through with an efficiency of Chick-fil-A.
The fit. I mean, if you want something quick for barbecue wise, this is your spot. If you want to do takeout, you want to do drive through, there's a
And
lot of
listen,
people here that swear by this place.
I'm not in Fuller every day, but I just went to Fuller this weekend to check out this grab and go place called Clean Eats. There's a Jim and Nick's there now. Every time you go to Pooler, there's something new that pops up. I just don't remember Jim and Nick's there, but it's right along Pooler Parkway now.
They also do catering, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Honestly, we don't talk about this a lot, but these guys are immersed in the community. Every time there's something having to do with community, it's literally in their name and they follow through on it. They are immersed in the low country community, the causes they get involved in, catering for sports teams, high school and middle school. Can't say enough about the team at the Bluffton Gym and Nick.
Good value menu stuff for families. Barbecue
They
dinner, nice beef brisket dinner, spare rib dinner. Good stuff for families.
they've held the line on the prices, and they deal in bulk with the number of locations, but they're not cutting portions either. I'm super impressed with collard greens. I'm not a collard greens guy. There's certain places where I'm all in on collard greens, and this is one of them. What's next on your list?
Next, we're going to go back towards Old Town to Bluffton barbecue. Sneaky spot, right? Like you see the sign when you're over by Slider Bar and Local Pie, like nondescript at the end of the thing there. And it's one that kind of was under my radar for a while. This is like what we were talking about with Chew, like nondescript neighborhood place. They don't have a website. The menu is,
I've been
up
after
on
him
the
for
board.
10 years to do a website. He's just, no thanks. We're good.
If it's working, right? And we talked about prices. Barbecue sandwich on Texas toast, $9, which I think is a pulled pork sandwich. Pig in a blanket in a flour tortilla, $9. Pork in a fork with pickles, $9. Add 50 cents and you get a half pound with extra sauce. I told you about John Pork before. One of his things is, what can I get for $10? This is probably on the short list of where you would go in Bluffton. You can get 3 barbecue ribs for $10. Half chicken, roasted, $10. And it's incredible. That day I went fat bastard, half a pound of pork, 3 ribs, and a half a bird, $28. That's a lot of food for less than $30. I chuckled because you said you're trying to get them to do a website. I love when places are like, this is what we do. This is what we don't do. At the bottom, it says, shit we will never have. Lemon slices, unsweet tea, ranch dressing, milk or butter, mayonnaise, salad, buns, mustard. And then it says tolerance for preconceived notions, tolerance for spoiled brats. This includes their children. We will not have grilled cheese. When it's gone, no crybabies. We are traditional, not trendy. So they're out there. This is what we are. This is what we're not. Deal with it. You got to respect that. They're not open Sunday. They're not open Monday. They're not open Tuesday. They're not going to be. This is it. This is 4 days a week. Really good barbecue. Couple of sides. And that is that.
You and I have this dichotomy in terms of just you're newer, yet you're immersed here. So you feel like you've been here for 20 years. I've been here for 20 years. So when I chuckled when you were like, it's under the radar, because it is. And it's intentional that way. You're not going to find this on social media. Okay. You're not going to find Bluffton Barbecue on social media. You're going to talk to local. You're going to ask, where is the best barbecue around? And they will tell you about Bluffton Barbecue. And then you will go there and be a regular. It was the first place after I had the gastric sleeve surgery and I could add foods back to my diet. It was the first, I was dying to go there. I believe it was a Tuesday. I drove down there on a Tuesday. They're not open Tuesday. So I went back the next day. Ted and Donna are institutions in Bluffton. Ted is, take me for what I am and screw you if you don't like it.
Yeah, Harold's Deli.
They've been here for 37 years now. He worked in the gas industry. He's one of those dudes that came from somewhere, not a native per se, but like he is. This was one of the first places built on the promenade when Old Town started to explode. Came from him running the train barbecue along May River Road. They worked their ass off to build that business. They started a magazine called the Bluffton Breeze that was really quirky and encompassed everything about Bluffton's eccentricity. He's been a town councilman. He's very opinionated about everything. If I need to know the pulse on a topic in Bluffton, I'm going to Ted. And in the middle of getting that pulse, I'm getting insanely fed.
When you go to their Facebook page, it takes you to a website called Destination Barbecue that is just like a blog that reviews barbecue. And I think that the title is perfect. And it's what we titled this podcast. We're not a restaurant. We're a barbecue joint. Enough said.
We talk about Ted and Donna, his wife. This is like the quintessential picture of the two of them. Ted's got the beard. What you're not seeing, the ponytail that he's rocking. Very well kept beard. Ted's out front. Donna's just as much of a doer, but she's not the spotlight. She knows Ted's the spotlight. Donna's as much of a doer. She was the brain and the brawn behind Bluffton Breeze. They are a power duo. I was excited to show you this picture because this is them. And here's their food. It's amazing, but it is the hominess. It is quintessential Bluffton. He's eccentric. He's opinionated. He is all about the community. They live and breathe for Bluffton. When you want to do something on the contemporary voices of Bluffton, not the natives, not the older generation, although he's not as young as he used to be. But it's Ted and Donna. Donna was part of an amazing documentary on the faces of Bluffton. It came out during COVID and never got fair due. I would suggest you search that out. The food. Search out the food. It's pretty special. Oh yeah. We are open 11 to 7 Wednesday to Friday, noon to 7 Saturday. Come and get you some Bluffton barbecue.
That's it, man.
What's
Next, we're going to head out by us, out on 170. Heading out towards Beaufort, right on the corner of the Borgent Boulevard. We're going to do Pistol Joe's Cherry Point Barbecue. Out of all the ones that we've covered so far, not only does Pistol Joe's some of the best barbecue in terms of pulled pork, smoked chicken, but they go pretty outside the box. They do smoked turkey. They have a fried chicken sandwich, fried bologna, fried pork chop. They got a thinly sliced rare roast beef on a toasted onion roll with mayo, cheese, and signature barbecue sauce. They call it the classic three-way. That's their North Shore roast beef. They do pulled brisket. You can get any of this stuff on plates. They have chicken tenders, fried mushrooms, hush puppies, brisket chili cheese fries, barbecue nacho platter, soft pretzel, smoked wings, smoked sausage links, fried chicken, salads where you can get pulled pork, smoked turkey, or smoked chicken. You can get smoked brisket on the salad, smoked ribs, fried shrimp, fried fillets, banana pudding, carrot cake, milkshakes, the sides even, fried okra. You can get beer there, Miller Lite, Bud Light, Mick Ultra, Modelo, Corona, Goose Island, Voodoo Ranger, Stella Artois. This is on the higher spectrum of offerings. They run specials. Friday, they'll have fish and chips. I'm a big fried mushroom guy. Those fried mushrooms were outstanding. The ribs were excellent. I tried the chicken tenders, delicious. My brother's big into wings. He got a hefty size order of wings. I think he ate half on the spot, took the rest home. They'll do a smoked half chicken dinner, smoked pulled brisket dinner, smoked drumsticks. It's got the full gamut of barbecue, fried chicken, catering parties.
They do interesting stuff too. But like Bavarian pretzels or blueberry cornbread with ice cream. This is a spot where Cherry Point was a very kind of under the radar, quiet institution out on 170. Okay. And Pistol Joe came in from Connecticut, took over Cherry Point Barbecue. And a lot of folks were worried, like, what's this guy going to know about barbecue? This guy, he lives, breathes barbecue. He was careful to honor the history, but to make it his own. Like, he wanted to honor the history just in terms of his barbecue being up to snuff. My goodness, has he nailed it. Uh, Super nice family, always there. I can't really add any value to what you described. You nailed it. I got to know him by asking him to be part of DJ's Day of Giving, which, by the way, they were once again this year on Saturday. And we didn't mention that much, but yeah, DJ's Day was a huge success. I think put
Awesome.
us over $200,000 over the years.
Excellent.
The baked beans, the mac and cheese, on top of just throw in the family element of it. And yeah, I'm happy to see them thriving. That was a big swing taking over that spot and coming into the low country and saying, I know how to do barbecue. Yeah, you do. Welcome to the upper echelon, my friend.
They're awesome.
So glad to see them make your list.
I'm a big fan. It's a cool place to go. I don't think they're open at nighttime, right? I think they close relatively
Yeah,
early.
better.
They close at 6 p.m. This is a daytime place. If you want to get there early, you get some dinner before they close. No reservations. They got Wi-Fi. Really reminds me of a New Jersey burger hot dog joint with the booths. They got outdoor seating. I love the variety on the menu. A little bit of everything brings in the element of having the bar too. I love the country style slow smoke, different element, different style. The atmosphere is cool, friendly people. I like the creativity, the effort to do some different stuff.
This is one of those places where people tend to be particular about barbecue and don't let the out of towners into the inner circle too often. I first heard about I knew of Cherry Point. I'd been to Cherry Point before, but I was convinced to go out there, buy Dwan Field, buy a handful of native low country folks. Yeah, he's nailing it. Doing things next level. When you got the buy-in from the locals, the long timers, you've done right.
I think that's how I ended up there. People were just saying, this is a place that you got to hit. I'm glad I did. Let's get into our honorable mentions before we wrap up. I'm embarrassed about this, driven by it so many times. I haven't seen it as much recently, but a lot of people whose opinions I value about food have told me really good things about Young's Barbecue. I'm going to pass it back to you, Tim, with your knowledge. Tell the audience a little bit about Young's Barbecue. Obviously, honorable mention insofar as that this is not even a food truck. It's just a mobile operation. Tell people about Rodney and Young.
They're on May River Road. They've nailed doing a handful of things really well. It's all in takeout containers, plastic bags, and picnic tables. They're good people. We're there till we sell out. They've been a little absentee as of late because La Barria Loca has taken over that spot on more full time. You'll typically find them on a Saturday or Friday. I'm a huge fan of what they do. 1193 May River Road across from Messick's gas station. That's where they typically are.
There's no website for these guys, but and these are some older ones. But you go into
Yeah.
the Facebook page on the best barbecue I've ever had, best pulled pork and brisket sandwich, best barbecue in Bluffton, best barbecue I've had in ages, best barbecue I've ever had, first time, unbelievable, so good. Ribs were some of the best I've had, leaving nothing but the bone. Outstanding barbecue, best in the entire area. A lot of people might say the best barbecue in this area is Young's. You're not going to find it every day. Lately, keep an eye out when you're driving. It's always going to be open until whatever time, until 5 or until we sell out. We had to give them a shout out because, like I said, there's a lot of locals that when you ask them about barbecue, this is where they're going to tell you to go.
Without a doubt. What's your next pick?
I was at dinner last night and mentioned that we're going to be talking about barbecue today. And they said, what do you think about One Hot Mamas? Obviously, this is something that's been recently in the news because they moved to the old Nectar location. I remember one night I was crowdsourcing and I said, what should I get for dinner tonight? And winter chicken dinner, no pun intended, because my buddy Lou DeMayo over at Remax Island Realty said, get boneless wings at One Hot Mamas. And that was a winner. I ended up going with something that's won the Wing Fest multiple times, the Hawaii 5-0, ginger, soy, pineapple, teriyaki glaze. The other one was Italian stallion, garlic parmesan mixed with the Frank's Red Hot. The Italian stallion, I go with a blue cheese. The Hawaii 5-0, since that's more of an Asian one, I go with a zesty ranch. Obviously, good barbecue at One Hot Mamas as well. This is a Surge Group vehicle. It's got to be mentioned when talking about barbecue in the area. Not necessarily a chain, of course, part of the bigger restaurant groups, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah.
Orchid's an institution here. You talk about hustle. She is just amazing barbecue chef, has taken a larger role within Surge because of not just her cooking acumen, but her business acumen. They took over where our bar is currently. And another spot we could have mentioned, by the way, our bar's got some great barbecue dishes. We've got them in another category.
Yep.
They were originally where our bar is now in Sheridan Park. They're now near the movie theater in Bluffton. They took over the old coal-fired pizza spot.
The anchor in that shopping center, right? Outback Cinco, which we'll talk about next week when we get into Mexican and Tex Mex. I would say Cinco and One Hot Mamas. Is there a better combination than catching a movie and going to One Hot Mamas and getting some dinner? I don't know that there's been a better combo than that.
There's not enough movies to see. They're even more of an anchor to that plaza. I'm that opinionated on Berkeley Place, how that should have been the center of growth in West Bluffton, and has dropped the ball as a plaza. But the businesses like Cinco, the butcher shop, places like Cupcakes to Cakes, and obviously Outback.
Casablanca is going to be going into where
Casablanca has the sign up. Yeah, they are going into where Primetime Grill and Cheeseburger was before that. She's, like I said, she's an institution, and she's nationally recognized. When today came to the island to talk barbecue, we got Orchid on here. She's part of the next Food Network Star series. She's a star around here. It's a tough list to make. Folks like her, Ted, and Chu, and they've been setting the standard around here for a long time. So kudos to and congratulations on the new spot. They were in Bermuda Triangle for a long time, and they've got the new spot. She's rocked it for decades here, and she'll be rocking it until she decides she's done.
Sure.
They're not going anywhere. People love going there for the barbecue, the hominess that Orchid brings.
Excellent brisket queso as well. I have to mention that's one of my favorites, especially when I order out. I'll get.
Oh, by the way, and this
brisket
is.
queso.
I'm sorry, and this is a new thing. It is spectacular. Their chili is top notch to begin with, but this is like a next level thing.
Are you sure it's better than white bean chicken chili, Tim?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Just kidding. I know that's a
callback. Nice callback. I'm glad you're listening. A lot of people have said, you guys are great together, but at the same time, you both got a lot of air in you. You both got a lot to say. So somebody said, I wonder sometimes if you're listening to each other. And then they started laughing. They were like, you guys just are so conversational. But yeah, that's what made me think of that when you call back. I'm like, okay, yeah, Nick does listen to it.
I had a moment last week where I had brain lock. I was afraid that because I was looking to the next thing that we were going to talk about, I didn't hear something he said. I went back and listened to the show like 2 or 3 times, like till all hours of the night. I kept listening because I was mad at myself. I thought that one of my responses to you wasn't going to make sense. But despite my best efforts, I didn't see it. So I guess
You
I
texted
don't
me
give
at like
myself enough credit.
11:30 at night about that. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this guy.
Because I felt bad. I zoned out for a minute, but I think I was just a little too in my own head. Before we go, I want to mention this wasn't on the original list, but something that's been catching my eye recently. One of the places that I like to go during football season to watch games is the Smokehouse. They got one of the better setups in the area to watch football. And that's a place where I'll usually go with soup, boneless wings. I don't do much of the barbecue there. I want to give Walker Venrick, the manager, credit because they've been utilizing their social media well. They got creative stuff out. This week, they got a fried pork chop with mashed potatoes, mushroom gravy, and asparagus. They got a smash burger with sweet pickle, lettuce, tomato, onion, pepper jack, and bacon. Last week, or they had a different smash burger with guacamole, jalapenos, pepper jack, lettuce, tomato, onion, chipotle ranch, and a pickle brined fried chicken sandwich with pickled coleslaw, dill sour cream, and Swiss cheese. I just want to shout out social media and it's given me a reason to go over there. Did Philly cheesesteaks for the Eagles towards the end of football season. I think it's fair to mention them. They've been around on Hilton Head for a long time. I know they had that big fire several years ago, and they did a spectacular job rebuilding. I love the rooftop bar, even though I don't order barbecue when I go there. I like the other stuff. They've had some really good stuff, not just for lunch, but dinner. Flank steak, teriyaki flank steak with sauteed onions, mushrooms, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. They belong in the conversation.
Next week, are we doing Mexican Tex-Mex?
Yes, sir.
Mexican Tex-Mex next week. We're on a comfort food bender, really, from the legitimate comfort food episode right through upscale dining, barbecue joints now, Mexican Tex-Mex, bars and burgers after that, breakfast and brunch after that. Yeah, no, we're up in my wheelhouse. I love it.
And that's before we take the turn, like I said last week, when we start getting into some Asian stuff, which is some of my favorite food. So we got a lot of really good stuff coming up. This
And
obviously was one of our shorter ones, but I think we did pretty well.
We had a
Under
lot of
2 hours.
topics up front. We had a lot of
Yeah.
topics up front. This honestly gives me some time. I haven't been to any of these places, but we're talking sushi. This is Nick's wheelhouse. It's not mine, admittedly. So this gives me some time to not be as much of a neophyte. I'll hopefully bring something to the table other than this mug.
I did get a chance to get over to Sakura for a takeout order. I want to table my official review until I dine in, because sometimes Asian food doesn't always translate well for takeout. I did enjoy some shoyu ramen. The place looks really cool inside. It's right next to Eggs Up. I think it would be better if I sat at the sushi bar and enjoyed some rolls. I'm not a big roll person. I prefer sashimi and chirashi. They don't particularly do that there. It's a ramen and Japanese. And so there are some fried rice options and some other things like that. So just with the very basic introduction, I don't want to get into too much detail. It was a solid bowl of ramen, and there's not too many options for that around here. So we'll circle back to that. If you are interested in Sakura, I'm going to make it easy for you. Just type in Sakura Bluffton. I had difficulty. I'm going to help them with the Google results. I was halfway through grocery shopping on Saturday. I was halfway through an online order and realized I was ordering from some sushi restaurant in Georgia. So you help London these restaurants when it comes to that type of stuff, I'll make it easy. If you're into ramen and sushi, you might want to check them out as well. Again, another welcome addition to that area. And I guess that's about it for today. I got to head over to Palmetto Animal League to pick up the little guy from his procedure today. Let's take it home.
We got a big week out on the trail. We'll let you know what we thought of the flatbread grill opening in Bluffton. The YouTube channel. The episode's always available on the Indulgent Islander YouTube channel. Also available on the Low Country Chronicle YouTube channel. Available wherever you get your podcast. Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio, Podbean. This is a Over Media production. If you're interested in doing podcasts, we're loving doing this podcast with Nick. We're doing a lot of different podcasts. I've got something I'm excited about that we can talk about in the next couple weeks. Hit me up. If you're interested in podcasts, I would love to talk to you. Tim Wood, excited to have another edition of the Indulgent Islander podcast in the books. Nick, until next time.
Stay hungry, my friends.
Talk to you next week.